started the show off today with a series of text messages that I woke up to today, which essentially was a play-by-play of the KBO Korean Baseball League game that was going on last night. Now, you watched the game live, correct?
Yes, I did watch the game.
Oh.
Yeah, you watched the game last night. Both of you guys watched the game last night.
Well, it really wasn't by choice. I'll tell you that, Gill. I mean, I was just flipping around, came across, found it so hilarious that I just had to watch for a few minutes. Yeah, I mean, they gave us South Korean baseball.
Right.
They gave us announcers. They gave us announcers from their own basements in the United States. You got no fans. They can't spit on the field. The players are high-fiving. I mean, the players are in the dugout all like right next to each other, so I don't know what that was helping. It was a scene, and I'll be honest with you, Gill. I don't know if that's what our baseball is coming back. It's going to be tough to watch. I mean, that was pretty tough to watch last night. I'm going to be honest with you.
Well, Hunter enjoyed it. He enjoyed watching that game last night. I read him your text, and he didn't know what the hell you were talking about.
Yeah, I did enjoy it. I enjoyed it. I didn't think it was that bad. The only part that was bad was the broadcast, but you can fix that. In terms of on field and no fans in the building, I didn't think it was that bad.
Well, the thing that I don't like, Hunter, is there's just no energy. For me, there was no energy to the game. A guy hits a home run, there's nothing. There's nobody. There's no cheering. There's no booing. There's nothing as far as the energy and adrenaline that the fan base brings to a game. You just lose that. And so maybe for an inning or two, I could watch it. You're giving me 9 innings. Granted, even in last year, it was tough for me to watch 9 innings during the regular season. But regardless, I just think it's going to be – I know people are dying for anything sports-wise, so they're going to eat it up at first. But I think in the long term, if this goes the entire season, man, I think it's just going to be a real struggle. I really do.
I think it's going to be a struggle because it's the Korean Baseball League, and I just flat out don't really care about anything that happens with the KBO. But if this is Phillies baseball and there's no fans in there, I'm truly going to believe that I will be invested pretty heavily.
I'm watching this game. It's on again right now. Like, they have the replay on right now over here. I don't know about over there. That's another thing. Remember, we're watching the game at 1 o'clock in the morning, so it's just kind of like, you have it on at 10 o'clock out there, so it's kind of like, hey, there's a game on, where for us, it's not a very convenient time to watch the game.
Yeah, you're not going to watch the game live almost ever.
Oh, I'm 2 sheets to the wind by that time. I woke up today. What the hell is – PG is texting at 2:27. I mean, he's married with a kid. Go to bed.
Well, this is what I was saying. I didn't instigate that text thread. He started it, and once he started it, then, of course, I finished it because I was like, this is nuts. This is hilarious, this and that. I brought up the powerlifting where the guy was in Iceland, and he's in a room. He couldn't be out in front of people. That was a whole nother thing. That was exciting because the guy lifted 1,100 pounds. I was actually excited to watch that, but there was no fans in that one either.
Well, I mean, I get the text at 1:57. I mean, this is poor. Guy hits a home run, not one person in the stand. And then you respond with saying with that powerlifting competition, guy lifts over 1,100 pounds, a world record, and there's nobody there to cheer that man on. And then I get this Ravitch is calling the game from his house. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. And then you write, I mean, this is embarrassing. I mean, they're trying to find a job to validate their paychecks. There's a meeting on the mound. Only one guy has a mask on. The umpire's directly behind the catcher, poor, breathing all over people. They got a ban on spitting. I mean, what are we watching here?
I think it's a little over-aggressive. See the laughter? It's funny. I agree, it's funny, but it wasn't that bad. You can't tell me it was that bad.
I mean, it was a struggle for me. Now, you saw, too, they had the mic issues. Now, again, you hope they fix them. But, I mean, Gill, if you were to just turn on the TV and watch that last night, it was like a high school broadcast. I mean,
the broadcast was bad. The broadcast was definitely bad.
They tried to bring in the South Korean guy. His microphone wasn't working. They're trying, we can't hear you. There's no producer like in the room to help them with their technology. Next thing you know, he's just on his computer. I mean, granted, it's just what we have to work with right now.
Well, right. And guess what, though? I'm almost glad that happens because for like the NFL draft, they didn't have very many glitches or problems, and people were starting to say, well, they can start eliminating people's jobs. Maybe they don't need to be on site to produce stuff. They don't need to send the broadcast teams out there. So I'm hoping that they're having more, because I hate to see people lose their jobs because they feel like they can make this work. Now, I'm sure they can fix it and do a little bit more. Look, we're doing the show. Hunter's in his house. I'm watching him. Like, the way we have this set up right now is, he's on a video screen in front of me so we can at least see each other. But sometimes there's a lag or a delay. And I mean, it's frustrating. But like, I can't imagine calling the game from my basement in New Jersey of a Korean baseball game would be pretty difficult.
I mean, and saying that, I give Ravitch a lot of credit, right? I mean, he did a nice job, but it's just, as a spectator, what we're used to. Again, our expectations are really going to have to lower. And to Hunter's point, you're just going to have to watch your team because you genuinely just love your team and you want to support them, and you also just want something to watch. So I think for that point, it's going to work. I don't know if you're watching just two random teams, how much you're invested to want to watch that game. And also, when we talk and start to steer away into like NBA basketball, that to me is going to be a whole nother bubble that's going to be really interesting to play out as well.
Well, I see, and we were talking about this earlier. I'm interested to see how the ratings are. It's going to be hard to quantify ratings, especially on the East Coast, because the games are at 1 o'clock in the morning. They're doing replays at 3, and then another replay, I think, at I thought I saw 2:30 in the morning, but that's because the next group of games are going to be on at like 5:30 in the morning. So it's going to be on at 5:30 a.m. our time, I think. Here's the schedule right here. So tonight, last night you had 12:55 because it was opening day. Then the re-air was at 3. Then they're having another re-air at 2:30. And then at 5:25 in the morning on Wednesday, tomorrow, you will have a live game. And then that will re-air at 2, and then another re-air at 2:30 a.m., and then the live game will. So these live games are going to be at 5:25 in the morning, which means when you wake up, you can catch like the last inning or so. You're not going to benefit from this over there. But I'm wondering if the ratings are going to make a move at all to where some network is going to be like, you know what, we don't have sports or we don't have baseball. Let's just get this Korean baseball league, or let's get the Japanese baseball league, or some other professional leagues, and you start to see more and more of them, air over here as this is going on.
Well, and basically that depends, right, on what our sports are doing over here. Are we making movement? Are we starting up with kind of any spring training? What are we doing as far as our dates? I don't know how long this will last as far as how much we'll get. And again, I don't even know anything about the South Korean league. I mean, how many teams are in this league?
There's 10.
There's 10 teams. And how many games do they play? Do they do the same thing, like a 3-game set?
Yep, they have 144 games. There's only 10 teams.
Wow, with 10 teams, huh?
Really?
That's so many times they're playing the same squads over and over again.
Five teams make so there's 10 teams in the league. 5 of them make the playoffs. So half the league makes the playoffs.
What happens? One team gets a bye and then the other 4 battle it out?
Yep, that's the way it goes. Yep.
I can't wait.
Yeah, oh man, Hunter's all in. Hunter is all in on South Korean baseball right now.
So they have the Doosan Bears that are out of Seoul. They have the Hanwha Eagles, the Kia Tigers, the Kiwoom Heroes, the KT Wiz, the LG Twins, the Lotte Giants, the NC Dinos, the Samsung Lions, and the SK Wyverns. Now, each stadium is give or take about 20 to 25. There's a smaller one that's like 13,000, and that's the 10 teams. So we have adopted the NC Dinos in to be our local team for Dinos in Margate. Since there's a Dinos sub shop, we're going to be the NC Dinos fans.
That's pretty funny. And do we know, I mean, again, it's going to be tough to follow names and whatever else. And again, I don't know how long this is going to last, let's be honest. But do we have anybody in that league as far as a former coach, a former player?
Aaron Altair.
Yeah, there's a bunch of guys. Like each team has like 3 international, quote unquote, international players. So yeah, there's a lot of former major leaguers that are like older guys that are just still trying to play, or guys who are like journeymen and they go over there and they make more money, to go over there and play. Like David Buchanan's over there pitching. You remember Buchanan from the Phillies, right?
Yeah.
He's over there pitching. Who was it? Ben Lively's another Phillies pitcher. He's over there. Aaron Altair.
Is Darren Ruff still playing, or he used to play there?
He's back. He used to be there. He's back. with the San Francisco Giants. But
classic.
Can we get a Manny Ramirez fighting?
Well, Manny Ramirez says he wants to go back and play. Did you see that story? But he wants to play in Taiwan.
Do you think you'll start seeing some of these older players that are that old that are just like, listen, I'm going to go out there and play right now?
No, the problem is you're only allowed to have 3 international players on your roster. So it's not like they can start stacking their roster with all these older players that want to come over there and start playing. So the KBO used to have players from that made it to the majors. There's a handful of players. I don't even know these guys, but there's like a handful of them that played over there. So some people have suggested that it's like the quality of like a AA game. So I don't know.
And Hunter, what do you think? I mean, I would say that's probably the feel of what it was last night. Maybe
the way I described it was, if nobody told me what level this was, I wouldn't say it was awful. Now, I wouldn't say it was great by any means, but I definitely wouldn't have sat there and said, this is just terrible baseball that I can't watch.
Well, let me ask
so when I found out it was AA, related to that, I was like, oh, okay, I'm surprised. I thought it would be better than that.
Well, let me ask you guys this in terms of not having players in the stand. Now, I'm watching it like half-assed behind my shoulder over here, but I'm not getting this. I guess I don't have the volume on either, so that's different. Like not having the sound and the crowd like ambiance. But I'm not looking at it like when there's a fly ball to right field and there's nobody in the stands. I'm like, that's most Major League ballparks now. Like no one's sitting out there anyway in half these places. So it didn't seem all that odd. But how did you feel about no one being in the stands?
And again, Hunter, for me, it was more, Gill, about the big plays. When you get a double in the gap, bases are loaded, or you get a home run. They had back-to-back home runs. The couple of minutes that I watched, they actually had back-to-back home runs. And there's nothing. I mean, he hits the home run. Yeah, they try to make a good call, like a really great, home run call, but there just wasn't anything with it. And I get what you're saying, Gil. These stadiums aren't able to be filled most times anymore, but you're still with the good teams. You're going to get a pretty stacked, Wrigley Field's always packed, Fenway Park, things like that. You're just not going to get it. It takes it away. And then honestly, the whole time I was watching, and this might just be me, I was watching to see what is he going to do when he goes into the dugout. Is he going to high five these guys? Are they going to stay away from? Like I was looking at how is he going to react, or how are they all going to react due to the virus? And literally everybody in that dugout high-fived each other, hugged. I thought, yep, that doesn't mean a thing. I mean, now they're getting their temperatures checked twice a game, so they're a little more on it over there right now. And so because you're checking them twice a game, maybe that's why they go, all right, we're in the dugout. Everybody's good. We just checked them. You can give the high fives and everything else. But that's what I found myself looking at, is the umpire without being right behind the catcher. When the guys went to the mound, there was only one guy with a mask on. Like, I'm looking at those things throughout the game, and maybe that's just right now, but that's kind of what I was aware of.
Yeah, no, that's an interesting way to look at it, because Gill was asking me before about that stuff, and I said, honestly, I was just watching the game of baseball. So it's funny how you looked at it and studied it that way, which I'm sure more people did than not. But the one thing I'll say about the fans is, you're right. It was weird, no doubt about it. I think it can work for baseball more so than hockey with people banging on the glass, or basketball with people on the court. If you can get away with it in one sport more than any other one, besides maybe golf, which would still be weird, is baseball to me.
And I would say this, Gil, as a caveat. I think what they did, Hunter, and tell me if I'm right, because I'm not sure. I heard a little crowd noise. I think they put the microphones into the dugout. And I don't know, but that would be a way for people watching at home. If you've got the microphones in the dugouts, at least you're going to get a reaction from your teammates when you hit a home run, so you'll hear something, right?
Well, what was the baseball league that had like the cardboard cutouts of the fans in the stands? What league was that? Was that this?
It very well could have. Was that recently, or was that in the past?
No, it was recent. It was Josh said it was the Taiwan Baseball League, where they literally had cardboard cutouts of people, and they put them in the seats, and just so it looked like there was people in the stands. And then they were putting like the heads of people that they knew on the faces.
Can you imagine if the wind blew them into the field, but you know what I mean? Like things can happen.
And they could turn this into like a game show when they do the applause sign, and it's like, no, there's nobody cheering. It's just an applause meter.
Right.
they could use that on television. So you're watching the game, he hits a home run, and they just press a button and all this crowd noise comes up. Yeah.
Well, I'd like to have I like them to be messing around with it with the players and have the guy running the scoreboard out there get like, let's get loud, and put like the volume meter on that thing. Man.
It's going to get comical. It'll get comical for sure.
I figured. I mean, so the game tomorrow morning, 5:25. Get up early, and you guys were up texting at 2:27 in the morning. You don't need to get up. You'll be up anyway. What the hell are you doing up at 2:20? Well, I guess for you it's different. I still don't understand. I'm looking at my phone. I get up this morning and I'm like, what is going on here?
Well, right. It's 11:30 my time. I mean, most nights I'm going to be up till midnight, maybe a little after.
Right. For you, it makes sense.
PG, that was unacceptable, PG. That was unacceptable.
Right. I mean, you need to get to bed.
Although, think about it. He's got a baby, Gill, so he probably was up because the baby was up. Let's be honest.
That's a possibility. All right. By the way, UFC weekend in Florida. So you have that. You get the KBO. We got sports back, baby. It's another edition of Ask Mike and Todd. All right, man.
Have a good one, guys.
All right. Todd Ranck is back, of course, every day at 5:30.